It began with a command from one man, Napoleon Bonaparte, a command that would pull the frozen North into a conflict it wasn't prepared for, dragging rulers like King Gustav IV Adolf of Sweden, King Frederick VI of Denmark, and Tsar Alexander I of Russia into a tense struggle for survival and influence. In 1808, Scandinavia wasn't just cold, it was cracking. Surrounded by enemies, betrayed by allies, and squeezed between global empires, Sweden stood inches from collapse. This is the story of how a single decision sparked one of the most devastating Nordic wars ever fought.
Europe is a continent under Napoleon's shadow. His armies dominate from Spain to Poland. Every nation, every port, every king is expected to obey France's will. To destroy Britain, Napoleon launches the Continental System, a massive blockade meant to starve British trade. But Sweden refuses. For King Gustav IV Adolf, obedience means surrendering Sweden's independence, and he will not bow. Meanwhile, Denmark faces a tragedy of its own. In 1807, Britain bombards Copenhagen and seizes the Danish navy, leaving King Frederick VI humiliated and helpless. Napoleon sees opportunity. He pressures Denmark into alliance and whispers a dangerous command: strike at Sweden. The North is now divided between two titans, France and Britain, and Scandinavia becomes their battlefield.
Denmark never wanted war with Sweden, but with no fleet and no room to maneuver, it has no choice but to obey Napoleon. Napoleon promises protection. He promises revenge. But he demands action. Sweden, still trading with Britain, stands openly defiant. This makes it a direct target of Napoleon's fury, and Denmark becomes the weapon. What began as a European trade blockade now becomes a Scandinavian death sentence. The winter of 1808 melts, and the heat of war rises. Along the Norwegian-Swedish frontier, soldiers amass in the forests. Tension hangs thick between border villages. In Skåne, Holland, and Blekinge, Swedish militias gather in fear of Danish landings. In the Baltic Sea, Danish gunboats, small, quick, and ruthless, begin harassing Swedish ships. Then, disaster strikes from the east. Russia, under Tsar Alexander I, invades Finland in February 1808. Sweden is now squeezed by Russia in the east, Denmark-Norway in the southwest, Napoleon's demands from the continent. A kingdom of ice is now a kingdom in crisis. On March 13, 1808, Denmark makes its move.
Danish and Norwegian forces push against Sweden. Gunboats sweep the Öresund. Skirmishes erupt in the frozen woods of Värmland. Southern Sweden descends into panic. Church bells ring at midnight. Families hide their children. Villages form militias overnight. Russia advances deeper into Finland. Sweden now fights two wars on two fronts. Entire border towns become battlegrounds, not for glory, but for survival. Casualties mount, supplies run thin, soldiers freeze in the forests, civilians flee burning farms. And yet, the war remains deadlocked. Napoleon's grand design is failing.
Sweden collapses politically. King Gustav IV Adolf loses support from every direction: the army, the nobles, the people. In March 1809, a coup removes him from power. The monarchy is shaken to its core. Sweden's government begins a complete transformation. Denmark gains no reward. Though loyal to Napoleon, Denmark receives no land, no influence, no lasting benefit. Instead, the war drains its economy and deepens suffering among its people. 3. Sweden loses Finland forever. Russia seizes Finland permanently. A massive portion of Sweden's territory is gone. This loss reshapes the identity and geopolitics of the entire region. Peace brings no glory. The conflict ends through treaties, quietly, painfully, without dramatic victory. The North is left wounded, its kingdoms forever changed.
The war leaves scars across Scandinavia. Families divided by new borders. Villages emptied by evacuations. Frozen battlefields marked by graves.